Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen here with life coach Linda Armstrong. Today is Friday, June the 12th, 2020. It is 4 p.m. New York time, and wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And we are rounding out this week with a return visit from a friend from a few months back. Chief Harold Peck is back. And Harold, I mean, you're a bit of a legend around here. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. But see, because you don't hold back, you just say it like it is. Frankly, your phrase hippie shit is now like it's owned by Harold Peck here on LOA Today. So.
I tell you what, man, it's this funky hippie shit. It's been good to me.
I can tell, yeah.
Yeah, it's been really good to me. Hey, I like your new microphone.
Thank you. Yeah, I just got that one actually.
Nice.
One of my other co-hosts had one like this one, and I was listening to a playback one day, and I was saying, his sounds better than mine. That's not good. I got to go get a better mic.
There you go. That's it. But hey, thanks for having me back on. I appreciate it.
Glad to have you here. And Linda was telling us about what you're about to be doing, and it sounds pretty exciting. Linda, do you want to do the official honors of introing it?
Well, I think Harold should do that because I think I have to mute. My dogs are about to howl.
Uh-oh.
You say it better than me. I'll come back as soon as they stop.
Well, then you intro yourself, Harold. You tell us what's going on here.
Okay, so hey, what I'm doing, Walt, is a little bit about me. You already know I'm a 28-year veteran in the Army, disabled, PTSD, and all those things. And some of this funky hippie shit and other good things that I've been learning over the last few years. A lot of science, a lot of love, Linda's help, just all this good stuff I've learned over the last few years. Well, it's taken me out of those really dark places that I was in just a few years ago. I think I met Linda in 2018. So I've come a long ways since I met Linda and done a lot of this stuff. And the the suicide rate in veterans, I'm noticing every month it's staying about the same.
Mm.
You know, it's averaging anywhere between 18 to 22 people a day. That's a lot.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a lot. Depending which statistics you look at. And some of these statistics, you know, I don't watch the news, but you can see it pop up on your phone once in a while. And I do keep in touch with a lot of veteran information. It's just been blowing my mind lately. I'm like, this shit never goes down. It always stays the same. And then I started thinking, you know, well, it might go up maybe here soon because I hate to say that, but because at times, you know, what's going on out in the world right now, right? With the fear and the energy and you know, so unemployment's going up. So I'm starting to think, you know, the veterans, if they were already sucking, a lot of them, I bet a bunch more is fixed to be sucking some more.
Yeah.
So I came up with this idea to go hike the Colorado Trail this summer. And I'm going to do it to help bring awareness to veteran suicide, and also not to just bring awareness to it, say, yes, there's some vets killing themselves, but to introduce some new training that's never been really taught before. It's a lot of what Linda's taught me mixed with, tons of other people on the internet, Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield. It doesn't matter. It's the best of the best, and I include you guys among them. Taking a lot of those goodies and taking stuff that's kind of for veterans, and I took that stuff that, you know, there's not a lot of lovey-dovey stuff out there for veterans. So it's kind of, you're going to see, it's going to be a lot of self-love type of stuff, as weird as that sounds. Probably not.
Doesn't sound weird to us, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
You say self-love, they're like, what do you want me to go to my closet by myself or something? What are you talking about, self-love? What do you mean, Chief? What you mean, right? So anyway, I'm going to do a hike. It's 500 miles. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be really high elevation. Obviously, it's in Colorado. So
yeah, sure.
To be honest with you, 100%, it's like something right here I feel I need to do. But really, honestly, as just a guy who's retired in Florida, it's the last thing I want to do. Because I hate pain. I'm just not a pain guy, right? And I have a lot of pain, and the cold just makes it worse. So sometimes I think, why did I say the Colorado Trail? Why didn't I say the Arizona Trail? You know, but it's okay. I think I did it for the beauty. And,
Well,
you know,
I think it's going to pay off too, to be honest, because this
it,
time of year, you want to be up in the mountains. You don't want to be down in the
right.
desert.
Oh, that's right. No, I wouldn't do Arizona this time of year. You're right. I would do that in like November.
Yeah, right.
but, but, yeah, it's going to be good. And I've watched a lot of the documentaries on YouTube. I mean, that's about all I can do, right? And, to get it prepared for it. The good news is, you know, I'm not just going to be on the Colorado Trail wall doing what you see on YouTube, which is just talking about the trail. I will be doing that too, because people like things like that. And so do I. You know, like this is this town, we're at this feet, this is the temperature. You know, today I did 15 miles. You know, I'm still going to talk about those things, but I'm actually going to be kind of unfolding on that trail too. In other words, I still have a lot more healing to do. And I just keep getting a calling to the woods, if you will. Like, dude, you need to go to the woods, not just to help veterans, but to fucking help you.
Yeah.
I still feel stuff coming up that's not quite moving. I mean, Linda, when I work with her, I'm like potting shit all over the house and, you know, releasing energy and stuff like that. And it really helps.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot more to go. And, you know, kind of once it starts moving,
Right.
I mean, has that been your experience too?
Oh, absolutely. In terms of my own growth, yeah, no doubt about it. Because I had my own stuff that was perpetually coming up. And the good news is that you eventually run out of stuff that has to come up. I mean, that's the part that pleased me a lot. Like, oh, good. I haven't had any really big stuff coming up lately. So.
Oh, really? So that's nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You actually get to that point. It's almost a shock when it happens, but yeah, keep going because it's going to pay off.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I don't want to be one of those people suffering the whole life. Like, it's
No.
you know, I'm 20 years from now, I'm healing. It's been hell, you know. But,
you know, I'm also starting to feel like, you know, it's really just a choice to heal or not. And we keep finding all these different ways to maybe do it. But really, truly, Harold, when you're out there amongst all those trees, which are great healers, just walking, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to run any processes. Being in the question is a great thing to do, though, because that invites what's next, what else is possible, you know? But just being there, how are these trees going to heal me? Like, that's a question. Sure. And let it just unfold for itself. But just being, I mean, you just did it, right? You did a smaller trail, and you were so, even though your body had pain and all different things like that, but you also had the other side of it, which was like, what? You would describe it, the peace, the joy.
Yeah, that's what I know. I just came back, if you don't know, from Tennessee. I was up there. I figured I'd go up there and practice with the gear that I got. And I'm glad I did because it's way too heavy. It's good gear. I guess you'd kind of call it like the Cadillacs of gear is what I've got. But what I need is like the Lamborghini of gear. The ultra light because of my back, right? Mm-hmm. So that stuff's expensive. I spent almost $2,000 yesterday just on tent and backpack and a couple other things.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So when I was up in Tennessee and I was testing gear, but like Linda said, I always notice this about nature. I really like it. At first, my mind was rather busy on the trail, you know, kind of logistically at first, like where am I going? You know, I'm using an app. But then when that went away, I noticed other stuff didn't take long to come in and fill it. Stuff that wasn't intelligent thinking, like problem solving thinking. It was that thinking that most of us suffer from all the time, that just
the old tapes.
Yeah. The ego stuff, right?
Right.
So I had that for the first couple of days, you know, with my pain, my body was hurting. I was mad, feeling sorry for myself. It was supposed to be warm. How dare the weather? It did not do what the Weather Channel said. That shit fucking, it pissed me off, man. I'm telling you how insane is this, right? I'm standing there at the trailhead looking at my phone. I'm like arguing with the fog and the drizzle. I'm like, bullshit, man. It says right here, 68 and sunny. What the fuck are you doing being 52 and foggy, right? But so, you know, it started off like that. I wasn't very John Denver-like, if you know what I mean. And
we've all been there too. I mean, every one of us in the world has had that kind of experience where Oh God. I was really expecting this to happen, and now that's happening instead. And like you say, you argue with the phone, you argue with the rock, you argue with the tree, you argue with anything,
Yeah,
just to
exactly.
deal with it.
What?
That's good.
That, that rock and that tree are happy to be of service to you and
That's true. Yeah.
get that out. You know what I mean? They're just there to be.
And that's what happened there on it. I think on the third day, I finally kind of surrendered, and I had to get off for a day because I hurt my back, not sleeping on the right pad. But I got back on there and everything was good. And I faced some stuff I was kind of scared of, to be honest with you, because there wasn't many people on the trail because of the COVID-19 thing. So I thought when I went on there I'd be busier with people, and I wasn't. So my mind was busier than usual,
Mhm.
trying to fill it. But when it finally, on that third day, it was like that. There was lots of gaps,
Mm.
and it was neat because in those gaps, the light becomes lighter, the energy becomes obvious, everything becomes alive. And
Mm.
for all the robins and shit, squirrels that came out, it looked like a fucking Disney movie or something, right? But in reality, they were probably already there the whole time.
Sure. Yeah.
Just never, when that happened though, when it's almost like, it did feel like a Cinderella scene or something, or Snow White, whatever that shit was. But it just felt like that, and it didn't go away for the next few days. It was really neat.
That's
And it was magical. I didn't have phone service, which panned out because I couldn't get on my phone, and that was nice. And I didn't listen to a lot of, like right now I don't have my headphones on. That's weird, right? I didn't listen to a lot of music. I listened to a lot of silence, and that is really hard for me. And but it did something. But then, Walt, you probably saw me. Maybe you didn't. I had a little breakdown on Facebook because I came down from the hill, and I didn't know about this thing happening with the guy getting killed with the cops.
Oh yeah.
So when I came down from the hill, at first I was like, "Oh, people!" I was ready to hug people, right? I was like, "It's good to see people again." I didn't care about the mask or nothing. I was feeling like I was on cloud nine, I don't know, like Moses coming down from the hill, so I felt like heaven, right? Well, it didn't take long for me to figure something was wrong
Right.
because I had some people drive by and do this at me with a fist. And at first I did it back to them. I'm like, "Hey, what's up, man?" I'm like, "Wait a second. There's no sports going on right now. These people are not excited about sports." And I'm like, "Wait a second. They're not excited about anything. They're mad." And
Mm.
that's I ran back to the hotel, and I ain't never seen nothing like that in the States. Uh, maybe I'm sheltered or something, but never been like in the middle of a riot. And I just saw the fear in the cop's face and the fear in everybody's faces, and it hurt like it does right now. I feel it because it was the opposite of what was in the woods.
Sure.
But yet, every one of those people, I'm not judging them, but every one of them, they were so wrapped up around these things, and they're important things. I'm not saying they're not. It's just I felt like I wish they could have that just for 10 seconds.
Sure.
10 seconds. I wish I could pause the world like in the Twilight Zone movie with the cops freaking out with all these people coming towards them, and just for a second give them a dose of the sunshine that Linda's always talking about.
Right.
That real good shit right there. And I don't know, just to give them a taste of it. Maybe some of them would be like, "Wait a second, maybe I ought to turn the news off."
Well, there is a little good news there, by the way. Well, actually, there's a lot of good news because you had this wonderful experience in the woods. But there's also on the other side of the equation that you were just describing, Linda often talks about how when we put out any kind of good feeling, it doesn't just die on the vine. It gets out there. And not everyone is able to receive it at that instant in time, but some are. Some are high enough vibration to be able to get it, and they get it. It doesn't go to waste. So all of that beautiful vibe you had out in the woods didn't go to waste.
That's right. Linda just said that in her last meditation. I forgot. See, this is new to me. I still don't think that way yet. I feel like I wasted it, but that's just my, you see?
Oh, no. Never wasted. Can't be wasted. Because if someone's not open and receptive to receive it, it'll just bounce off to the one that is. I mean, it's just going to go.
Okay.
Just like we had with the story with the last book we did. Well, water just knows where it's going. It doesn't care what's in the way, right?
Yeah.
It just goes. It goes around the rocks. So that love energy is going to go, okay, bounce off of that one and just go to the next one. It's just going to go wherever it's welcomed.
I like that.
Yeah.
So actually, you can give yourself a pat on the back rather than feeling depressed because you put out a whole bunch of great energy. You don't necessarily know who got it, but somebody got it. You know?
Hey, maybe I stopped some really bad shit from happening in Knoxville. I don't even know it. Right?
Well, you know what, Harold? I want to remind you that you are empathic. That's why you can feel this so much, right?
That's true.
So that's when you ask the question, who does this belong to? Because you were probably absorbing so much of that, boom, and then it just came out, wherever, on your videos, on your Facebook, doesn't matter. But it may not even have been yours. You're just like that channel for it to release it. So.
Yeah, it was, I almost called you like an emergency call. It was really, I felt like a sponge, like I really weird, like so emotional, like, I don't know. I kind of, I kind of reminded myself of the way girls get sometimes once a month. You know what I'm talking about? Like very, like my wife used to get, like really weird.
Yeah, psycho.
Yeah, like that's how I felt. Like very, like I felt very pain, like a lot of pain from something, from somebody. Like just felt very fearful and
Yes.
whoa. You know what I'm talking about? That deep compassion. It hurts. It's like an actual pain. So that would come, and then I'd come out of it. I'm like, that's okay. I hadn't even checked the news story by this point, right?
You were just feeling it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I was just feeling it. And then when I did check news, I was like, well, this one's going to be around for a bit. I do it, but it's, and that's okay. It's just, there's nothing wrong with the sides, and we know that. It's just, we really wish that people could just, I think one of the best things I've ever learned from Linda, honestly, Linda, it's going to be one of the things I teach people, just don't know it yet. Because I like to come up with little acronyms, right? It's going to be something, I don't know the official name for it yet, but it's going to be something like iPod with Chief. Like an iPod. You know what an iPod is? You remember those things?
Sure.
iPod. Well, Linda taught me it's more important to have an iPod. It's more important to have an iPod. And it comes from access consciousness. And it's really changes your life if you can remember it. Like I set timers around the house sometimes to remind myself of the following.
Right. So it's interesting point of view, so everybody knows.
Right. Everything is creating the grief between my two ears, like even this morning, Linda, when I was telling you. It's almost always caused by a judgment, a label, or me putting something on something, right? And what's his name, Dane here?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he talks about it's just you can do it with everybody instead of getting mad at the other person. It feels so much lighter to say, you know what, that's an interesting point of view, even if it sounds completely absurd to you, right? But think how life-changing that could be if we could say, you know what you just said is completely fucking stupid, but hey, that's an interesting point of view. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being like, what, and getting ready to fight and try, because we're never going to change each other's point of view at that moment in time. It's not like one side's going to say, fuck, you're right.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm actually taking an Access Consciousness Foundation course this week. But there's another cool thing that they teach, and that's, you have to be able to receive judgment. Because if you can't receive judgment, you can't receive anything. You have to receive the good and the bad. You have to be open to receive, like walls down, no barriers. And I like one thing they said, like for every judgment you accept, you make $5,000. For every judgment that you block, you lose 10,000.
Wow, really?
So think about that. And it's like, oh, you're judging me? Okay, yeah, I'll take that. 5,000. Ching!
That's a good way to look at it. 5,000 and 10,000.
Yeah, 10,000 is if you can accept it, and 5,000 if you can accept it. You can accept, because it's all about receiving. Everything that, most modalities teach, but Access Consciousness especially, is being able to receive. That's why we do the bars where we touch the points on the head, because we humans are taught not to receive, but infinite beings know how to receive and be a part of everything. So it's bringing you back to that. And like the whole thing with people not being able to receive money, because most likely you can't receive in many areas of your life. You have to open yourself to be able to receive. So I kind of like that judgment thing, because it makes it more fun. It's not, if somebody doesn't get you, they're allowed to not get you. Right? Someone thinks I'm some freaky hippie shit girl. I don't care. I'm like, yeah, bring it on. 5,000. Cha-ching.
I like that. Cha-ching.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful process when you can take something that is a challenge and turn it into something that is rewarding. That's huge. That's basically what they're trying to teach you in that access consciousness. Taking something that challenges and turning it into a reward.
Really?
Yeah, I like that.
Is to be grateful for all the junk. You know,
I think that's going to be a big thing. Is this? I just have a good feeling. I keep getting strong gut feelings about access consciousness. Yeah, even with this mission that I'm on, helping veterans, I just have a feeling once I do it, and if somebody ever, we'll talk about that later. But I know I just have a very strong feeling, just because that's one angle I've never really looked at. I thought I've studied all angles of this shit, but the receiving part, you're absolutely right. It's like never really thought of that the way you're talking about it. Being able to just receive it as well as you give it, just being open. That's what you're saying. I never think about it coming this way. So that makes me wonder how many other things I'm blocking myself from receiving.
Absolutely. And you can't judge yourself for it, for not having understood it or known it or whatever.
No, I'm not mad about it. I'm just curious because.
No, but there's times when we are mad about it. We're like, why did I do that? You know, it's like,
well, you know what makes me excited is I am so tired of hearing why don't they teach this in school? So you're going to see eventually. I'm going to really change my focus to that. I'm just going to start teaching it and really start eventually targeting more young people, because the open-minded, there's so many things that if we could think about the stuff we're talking about right now, right? Sometimes this is going to sound weird, but sometimes I get so in it, I think that everybody's thinking that. Do you know what I'm saying? And then I stop and think about it. I'm like, wait a second. Most people are not thinking about this type of stuff at all, the mindfulness and all this type of stuff. So I say that because if everything that I've been through has been to help somebody else, and same with you, obviously, and stuff and you too, of course, Walt, but with PTSD and anxiety being the way it was and everything, this is another modality that I haven't tried. And I've already read a lot of the things that it does for PTSD, just from even the first session, right? Mm-hmm. So I really want to try it out. For me too, because I have a really good feeling about it, but for the zillions of veterans eventually that maybe someday, who's to say that it can't be. There was people just 10 years ago that said the military would never approve acupuncture. And here they are doing acupuncture. Right. So what I'm saying is people that say never, it's never going to change, the education's just screwed, I don't believe that.
I don't believe it either. And by the way, there's something that comes to my mind as you're talking about this. You're talking about how it's really resonating with you, but you really want to be able to teach to others. Keep going with the idea that's resonating with you. And the reason I say that is when I started doing this podcast, which, by the way, podcast that does come from iPod, so that connection still exists. But
does it really? I didn't know
that's where the idea came from. It came from the iPod. But anyway, when I first started doing this podcast, I had 0 listeners. So the first question I asked myself was, well, why do I want to do this? And instantly the answer came back, because it feels good to me. It's good for me to do this. And so I made that my kind of background mantra. I was going to keep doing all these shows, not because I had a huge audience, but because it was good for me. And that has turned into probably the most powerful thing that I've done with the podcast since I started, and continues to be the most powerful to this day. And, by the way, because I focused on what I wanted, I started to get listeners. And I think the same thing's going to happen with you. The more that you focus on using this stuff for yourself, you're going to find other veterans like yourself just kind of coming to you over time because you're focusing on what's working for you. They're going to find you because of that. That's exactly what happened to me.
Yep.
That's great, man. That's good.
Totally.
That's good, Walt. I don't know who paid you to tell me that today, but Linda, did you give him some?
It reminded me when you were talking there and you were telling the actual access consciousness story. It reminded me of something that my wife used to do. My wife used to be a psychotherapist. She was a therapist for about 10 years.
Okay.
And one of her favorite things to do with clients who were hanging on to stuff, talking about letting stuff through and accepting things that are uncomfortable and so forth. She used to play a little game with them to illustrate to them how you let go of stuff. What she would do, they'd be sitting in a room and she'd pick up a pillow off a couch and she'd toss it to the person and the person would catch it and she'd say, okay, now toss it back to me. So they toss it back to her and she'd catch it. And then she'd toss it back to the client. She says, okay, toss it to me again. The client would toss it to her, but she wouldn't catch it. She'd let it fall to the floor. She said, watch what happens when I let the pillow fall to the floor. First of all, the game ends. Second of all, the resistance ends. And there's nothing that you can do about it because the only way that you can keep that game going is if I participate.
Huh. That's pretty smart.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's a good way to do things. I like your wife did that, huh?
Yeah.
I love that, man. That's the only way you can participate is if you throw it back, right? Yeah.
That's it.
I like that. I love little things like that. Well, you know what? Yeah, deep down inside, I believe you, Walt. I really do. The skits and stuff I started with on there, I really eventually want to get back to those things. They're goofy, and you know what? They're fun, and I don't give a shit. So
on your YouTube channel, I don't think anybody knew that. You said,
oh yeah, probably because I had like one viewer back then, but it was at the beginning of the YouTube when I started. Me and Philip, when he was on there with me, we did it. It was funner. But yeah, I did hear some feedback that you're right. That's one of the biggest things that's been a life lesson for me is to. It sounds so bizarrely hard just to be yourself. So that's why it sounds so crazy. And most people you talk to, that's why if anybody listens to this, they're going to be, well, I am being myself. But that's bullshit. Most of the time, very few of us are really being ourselves. I mean, I'm not saying you're not right now, but I can tell you I'm not doing exactly what I want to do. And that's why I respect what you did. You're like, okay, I've got a grand total of this many, but what would I do if I was, you almost did like a kid. Like if somebody gave you a studio as a kid and obviously you had a craving to be behind the microphone, right? Mm-hmm. You would have done it as a kid. You would have went there and played dress up.
Sure.
You would have done it. So
absolutely,
that's a good way to think right now. What if you still have that craving? I'm so glad you did it. That's really cool. I never knew the story behind it. I just thought you've been doing this for zillions of years.
Yeah, and to this day, I still think about it the same way, despite the fact that now we've got a nice listenership. I just think about it the same way. Like, what am I going to learn from my co-host today? What am I going to learn from my guest today? How is this going to help me? I think about it that way every single day.
I've never really thought that's so clever.
And
the other thing too is when you start listening to those other voices, and you think you're giving your power away by thinking they know better than you, but really, can we just be our unique selves, who we are, because that's your superpower. When we can just be who we be, that's where our power lies. But we give pieces of ourselves away in many different ways.
Yeah.
Especially when we start censoring ourselves or changing the way that we do something.
Yes, it's like constriction.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't last long. I'm close. I'm getting there. I'm telling you, I got to go. I'm going to the woods. Because you're right, Walt. That's such a powerful thing. I think it's going to hit me for the next few days, what you just told me. I'm serious. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. That means joking in the Army. I don't know if you.
No, I get it. But it actually means it outside the Army too.
Oh, okay. Sometimes I say things people don't get. Like I told my kids, let's pop smoke, right?
Yeah.
They're like, pop smoke. What's that mean, Dad? Have you ever heard that?
No.
Not that particular phrase, no. Blowing smoke,
Well,
I know that one, but
you can try it with your wife next time. Freak her out. Next time you're ready. You're going to the grocery store. She's running behind. What's your name?
Louise.
Hey, Louise, come on, let's pop smoke. She'd be like, well, what the hell are you talking about? It means let's go. And why it means that in the Army, if you, especially if you need a bird, a helicopter really quick, you pop smoke, you pop this can
Oh,
of
okay.
smoke
Sure.
grenade for the
Send a
pilot.
signal.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. That's pop smoke. It's time to go.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right, look, guys, I just pulled a card. So
Okay.
we've got the temple path
Ooh.
Ooh.
in the upright position. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
See what it says. So there it is, temple path.
Nice illustration.
Okay.
Yeah, looks pretty.
Where's the camera?
You got it.
Different thing now. Okay, so it says spiritual purpose and support in the upright position. Receiving this card represents your own spiritual evolution. The winding path you are on leads to a blessed temple in a lovely garden, symbolizing the spiritual destiny that your soul has had in mind for this lifetime. This card upright is here to tell you that what you're going through now is part of your soul's process. You're on your karmic path and heading in the right direction. And the choices you make now are important for your personal growth and life lessons. The light around the temple represents the spirit world, your family members and friends, angels and guides, all the loving spirit helpers who long to assist you. Call upon them and be open to their wisdom and inspiration. This is a wonderful, life-expanding time, so keep in mind your personal priorities as well as your spiritual connection. Following your higher intention will help move your life forward in dramatic ways. And connecting with spirit and your higher self will have a wonderful influence on all that you experience.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Yeah.
Man, that's like the ace of spades right there.
No kidding. I mean, that would nailed it.
Yep.
Man, I am so glad I came on today. I tell you what.
Well, we're glad you came on too, actually. And I'm gonna actually put you on the spot a little bit here.
You do whatever you need, man. I don't care.
Well, it's kind of a way to maybe get you finding another different way of thinking about your own progress, because you've been feeling like you hadn't made a whole lot of progress. You knew you made some, but you feel like there's a whole lot more to be made. One of the things that I learned along the way, I'm sure Linda knows this one too, because she's such an expert at it, is when you want to do some growing, one of the best ways to do it is to teach. And we have a question from our live stream audience for you, so I want to give it to you and give you a chance to kind of teach on it. The question is from Josie. She says, what are your thoughts on maintaining a healthy mental diet?
I love that. I love the fact, what's her name?
Josie.
Hey, Josie, that's a great question. I think that is, you couldn't have put it a better way because you called it a mental diet. And that's the best way to think of it. The best way to think of your mental diet is to think about what you're feeding your head. From the second you open your eyes in the morning to the second you close them at night. And not just what you see. And I'm not saying don't watch news, but obviously less of that is better. If you're on here, you probably don't live on there a lot anyway. But what I'm saying is not just news and things like that. Not just things you see, but things you put in your ears, things you observe, things you think about, and everything, all of your senses. The more you engage your senses towards something that's serving for you, now you've turned your day into where you're feeding your head good. And that's completely what makes a day good and what we call bad at the end of the day is completely what we've been using in our diet. We just don't realize we're feeding our head all day long in our body, all these things, and we just don't realize it. Somebody told me that the other day on the phone. They're like, well, sometimes I can't help it. I can wake up and set intentions and affirmations like me every morning. Today's the best day ever, right? Within 10 seconds of walking out the door, here comes the ego saying, you're full of shit, dude. Today ain't the best day. It's just another fucking day, man. You're trying to, and here it comes, right? So I told the person that asked me that, I said, that's part of feeding your head. I was like, just pull back from it just like you wouldn't get upset about birds outside your window singing. Just say, you know what, they're just thoughts. Don't get attached to them. Don't feed them to yourself. And think, what thoughts can I feed myself? Like, and what was I just feeling in bed when I was doing affirmations? What was I just feeling there? I am confident. I am loved. I'm already there. There's nothing to achieve. And this that's why I set so many timers in this house, is to remind myself to feed myself good. Like, sometimes they'll go off. I'm like, fuck, what's that timer for? And I'll look on the paper, and it'll be something along the lines of separate yourself from your narrative. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling right now? Because if we had a built-in check engine light, or like a feeling, man, we just need to upgrade in our body. That's all. We need like some type of a gauge.
Well, actually, we're developing it, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, we do. I know. It's an emotional guidance system.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah. See, that's another thing. If we could be taught how to use, how to do the, what's that one thing they use, the law of attraction? It's one of the best things ever. The appreciation thing, where you look around your room and I forget what they call that. It sounds weird when you first do it.
Page of appreciation.
Yes, that's right. You just start, you know what? That's a nice vent up there. Oh, my mom, she's pretty. And you just go around the corner. Oh, wow, I never noticed. Wow, the person who dusted my house did a good job. You just go around, right? And you saturate, you flood yourself with good feelings. So I hope that answers your question. Feed your head good.
That was a great answer to the question. And by the way, it's exactly what you were doing when you were out in Tennessee, when you were out in the woods. You were appreciating like crazy. And look what it did. I mean, man, you were flying high with the amount of appreciation you were doing.
Two letters kept coming to me in the woods. For some reason, in the Army, GS means government service level. You've probably heard of that, like GS levels. Well, some reason GS8 kept coming in my head. I'm like, why is that coming in there? Finally, I just said, you know what? G stands for gratitude. S stands for stillness. Ooh. 8 is infinity. It's my favorite number anyway. So I was like, I don't know what that means, but every time I hear it, it's going to remind me to pause while I'm walking, focus on gratitude and stillness, the G, the S. And that made little micro shifts to where by the end of the day, I felt like funky hippie shit.
Yeah.
Damn, Harold, you're good at this stuff.
Maybe it was those trees talking to you.
Maybe.
Well, more precisely, was you listening?
Well, that's been an experience that's just happened in the last 6 months. I started watching a lot more Gaia and stuff. Maybe that's why. But I used to always feel like I was just on Earth as an organism walking around, right? Mm-hmm. But now I don't feel that way. In other words, when I go out in the woods, the trees don't seem scary to me by myself anymore. It almost seems, because I'm not separate from them.
Right.
Only in this reality am I separate from them. You know what I'm saying? Like, in other words, we're just all nature. We are the earth. We're just a living, and so.
I got another question for you. This is my own question. I noticed this the other day, and I was wondering if you had a similar experience when you were having your high vibe in the woods. Went outside. My wife was outside soaking up some sun, and I needed to go ask her something. And so I stepped outside. We chatted. And then as I was getting ready to come back into the house to do more of the work that I was doing, I just had this strong awareness of nature sounds. There was a lot of nature sounds, and they were really, really loud. I mean, there were like birds in the trees, and it was like they were on full volume. And there were squirrels, chittering around and full volume. I mean, it was just blaringly loud. And I was wondering, have you experienced anything like that? Because I was just blown away at how loud nature was.
Yeah, I have quite a bit actually. Yeah, I love that. I call it just being in tuned.
Yeah.
When that does happen, that's a really good time to do this, and I'll be really quick with this. But it's something I learned on everything I learned, most of it's from YouTube, right? But it's an Alan Watts thing. It's the easiest way to get into a meditative state, and it starts with sound. And nature's the best one. So when you hear it amplify like that sometimes, what I noticed is, I don't think that's just a coinky dink. In other words, it's like, hey, brother, you don't need to do anything, but now might be a good time to just be. And,
Mhm.
and it's good you noticed that, Walt, because most people are too busy. Maybe if they increase their volume, they might not have heard it anyway. But when you get that, it is one thing to say, hey, it's pretty cool, but it's another thing to say, hey, I can take this as a moment of opportunity to improve the quality of my life by a notch,
Yeah.
by amplifying my energy, if you will. And that's when those happen, I try to disconnect from any of the labels or anything from any noise, including if I hear people. So I eventually let the birds and everything kind of all melt together, the hum, the airplane flying overhead, and it all just becomes noise. And it kind of falls. See, I had a very hard time meditating for years. I can't be still. But this way helped me. I started noticing those, and it's weird you're mentioning it. And what I've done is they help me fall into a meditative state. Because once that sound starts going into my head and I stop labeling it like that's a robin, that's a bird, that's an airplane, eventually it just becomes like background noise. And then from there, my breath is next and I'm in. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That place of pretty good shit.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
place of feeling yourself as the infinite being that you are. Because
Yeah,
like
where
you're saying,
you,
out in the woods, there aren't all these distractions that pull you away from you. And that's
yes,
kind of
and
what
the funny thing about that is when I come out of it, because you always do, right? It's the problem seems so funny that I was just so stressed out about
No kidding.
because they when you first pull out of that, they really seem apparent to what they are. It's like they're just illusions, really. They really are. I mean, if you stop and think about it, that how much something that's not actually tangible is causing so much demise if you think about it. But and that's so when you get those, Walt, from now on, hey man, you can do all kinds of additad shit to that stuff. You can do all kinds of goodies. Hell, you can get down and do push-ups.
Well, I do my nature walks almost every day, and that has become a part of them now, actually. I mean, for the longest time, I was working on just noticing every sense, noticing what I could see, the colors and so forth, noticing
Huh.
what I could hear, what I could smell, what I could taste, and what I could touch. I would literally go up and touch things and involve all five senses. And
Wow, that's smart, man.
so this is like a way of taking that to the next level because audio has always been my strongest sense. And so I kind of use it as a lead, so to speak. So this is like leading me into making all my five senses more aware and more connected to nature when I'm out in nature. And like you were describing very oddly, the more that I do that, the more I enter a meditative state. It isn't uncomfortable noise. It isn't noise impinging on me. It's just, I just feel like I'm a part of everything.
Yes, yeah. So the separation is what causes all the misery.
Hmm.
It's I'm separate from you, get away from me.
Right.
This is my space. I mean, I'm not saying I want to, get in bed with you or anything, but you know what I mean. It's like I don't know
Had
how I
not
went
crossed my
that
mind, Harold. Trust me.
Luigi's like, wait a minute, don't have that guy on your show anymore. You like keep that crackpot off there. Oh man, I'm glad I came on today, guys. Really, I was off to a rough start this morning, but
Isn't it funny how we can have a day where I mean, we're so used to days where the day always goes the same way. But as we learn this stuff, we can have a day where it starts one way and we shift it to another and then it goes to another place. This is all the same day. We had all these energy shifts that went on.
oh man, I'll tell you what, it was a hard one. Matter of fact, that selenite, Linda, that I clear energy with, that
yeah,
selenite stick, I'll grab.
mine.
Oh, there you
This
got
is
your own there. Okay.
selenite. Yeah, so you can use it it's a form of gypsum. It's a crystal or something, right? I don't know what this shit is, but anyway, it's just another way to visualize releasing energy. Linda taught it to me. But today, I was in such a bad place because I have these on all my windowsills. Because there's always something to let go, right? So when I came and I saw it, and I was like, I just need to let go of what was frustrating me, or I was letting frustrate me. And when I first picked up, I threw it to the ground. That's how pissed I was. I actually dropped the F-bomb and a piece of I'm like, fuck you, man. And then I was like, well, that was silly. And
So look, I think I just picked another perfect card. It says, call on your joy guides.
Oh.
Number 6. Let's see what she has to say about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like how the cards just kind of show up at the right time, right? So it says, your situation at this moment may feel critical, but don't allow it to become too serious or you'll lose your way. Remember, on a soul level, this too shall pass, and it will pass much easier with the help of your joy guides to lighten your mood and elevate your vibration so that you can move on to better times. Learn to recognize when your joy guides are on the scene. They like to play games and sometimes practical jokes with you to keep you from taking things too personally. They're good at getting your attention, and with their antics, they may hide your keys, move your things, steal one of your socks out of your dryer. And it says, are the joy guides capturing your attention? Where or how are they getting to you to relax a little and just laugh at yourself? So sometimes little coincidental things happen, and it's just that energy coming in to lighten it, to shift it in some way. So they can either just show up, because they will, or you can call on them. All right, joy guides, we got to shift this, show me something, do something.
really? No kidding?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? It's the same concept as what we were talking about earlier. Just as we can put out high vibe energy that other people can pick up, other people are putting out high vibe energy all the time. We can grab it. It's ours to grab whenever we need it.
I think I've heard Sonia Choquette talk about the joy guides before. That's her deck.
I've never heard of that. I have to remember the joy guide. I won't forget joy guides.
She talks about all kinds of angels and stuff. She's a psychic and a medium. So I think the way, and I always botch up stories, but I think she was describing like at a funeral or something, and one of her kids, or something happened that made one of her kids laugh.
Made one of her kids what?
Something happened that made one of her kids laugh. Like in the middle of the funeral, everybody was so serious.
Oh, right.
And that one laughed, and the other one, the whole place started laughing. And it was the perfect thing. She said, I don't remember who it was that was deceased, was someone who loved to have fun and have a good time.
Right.
So here everybody's at his funeral. I might be messing this up, but this is pretty much the gist of the story.
That is so cool. I know where you're going.
So serious, and it's really not what he would have wanted, right? Here comes the joy guy, create something that makes this little kid crack up, and it just spread.
That is that. You know what, Linda? You said the story really good. I get the point. That's really cool. I could see that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was a true story. It was with her own kids. So
I believe that. I believe that dude was like, you know what? That's not what I wanted.
But that's happened before. How many times have you been in an argument with something, and if something happens and you laugh, you're like, I'm not going to laugh because I'm pissed off. Don't make me laugh. I'm still mad, but you can't help us but laugh. Did it ever happen to you?
Yeah, of course.
Actually, I was at a funeral that had that exact element in it. It was my sister-in-law's husband had passed, and they'd been through the wake, and now they're at the funeral, and it was really, really somber, a lot of really sad faces around the room. And in the middle of what the priest was leading everybody through, somebody's cell phone rang. And it rang really loudly. And my wife leaned over to me and said, that's Joe saying, lighten up, people.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's exactly what it was. It was great.
That's cool. Joy guys. I love it.
Another interesting story, too. I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time on funerals here, but this is another story of, this is when my dad passed. When my dad passed, we didn't have a funeral. We had a memorial service. And it was a really odd thing because myself, my brother, my sister, and my mom were all in a really good space after my dad passed. I mean, we felt very confident that he was in a better place. There was not a whole lot of grief going on. My mom was still dealing with some grief, but my brother, sister, and I, we were doing fine. And you know how it is if you've had a close family member pass, everybody's coming up to you and they're trying to console you and so forth. And we didn't need consoling. It was really, really odd in that way. But the people who were coming up to us needed consoling. So it became a reversal of roles. We were consoling all the people who were coming up to see us.
Really?
It was strange.
That is odd, man. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So they completely reversed roles.
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, this is God's honest truth. At the little get together after the memorial service, my brother and my wife were swing dancing in the middle of the party.
No shit.
No kidding. I'm telling you.
You know what? When my sister passed, we had a party with the band. No, actually, it was a DJ, I think. And
did you really?
Everybody's going to celebrate her. We're not doing this, the Italians, right, with the black and all. No, I said we're not doing that. And everybody came on board with it. And we really had a good time. We celebrated her. Yeah. We had a party.
And I'm convinced that the person who is passed, we know that they're connected. I'm convinced they love that a whole lot better because it's high vibe.
Of course, because they're in the ultimate high vibe.
That's right.
I know we're getting near the end of the card call, but I picked up.
Take a breather. Yeah.
Take a breather. So let's see what that's all about. Number 17. So she says the answer is simple. Take a breather. Your ego is making you overwork. Remember that it will never be fully satisfied with what you accomplish and will always create the feeling that you need to do more.
That's fucking truth.
Oh, yeah.
Right now is the best way to reconnect with your spirit. The best way to reconnect with your spirit is to step back, catch your breath. Although it may feel as though it will fall apart if you do, that's not true. You'll simply disconnect from the false urgencies of the ego and realign with your higher vibration. Once reconnected to your spirit, you'll find that there's always more than enough time to do what is important. Let yourself relax. This will clear your mind and allow you to hear your intuition and your inner guidance. Break away from the intensity of the ego and trust that all will work out in divine order, even when you rest. So to take a breather is to have faith in the divine order of life. God is in charge, so you don't have to work overtime. Yeah, so that's a good way of saying get out of your head, and just.
Dang, that's a good one there.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to do. I mean, I really am behind. I've got 16 days left, and I thought the issue is, it's not an issue. My daughter's in town. So one part of me is like, I don't see her very often.
Mm.
And I hired a dude out in Colorado to help me, so thank goodness for him. But yeah, there's a lot going on. It's just a lot going on. Trust me. I get this house ready to be empty for a couple months because I live by myself. All those things, right? And then my daughter's here to top it all off. She's 10 years old, and I love her to death. And when she's not here, I always feel bad because I don't see her enough.
Sure.
She's up in Wisconsin. So then when she is here, I'm like, well, I don't want to be in this office a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's why today it's been such a. I'm glad I'll get to see this again because I'm never going to forget this moment of my life because so many things have been like just amazingly exactly what I needed to hear. And, on the money, about synchronicity or serendipity, whatever. It's like just exactly, especially that last one. Because I was just thinking about that. Because right here, you can't see it on my computer. I probably should have had it turned off during the show. I wasn't looking at it. But in the corner of that's like my work board. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm a big productivity junkie. Or at least I say I am. And in my head, I'm like, fuck, I want to play with Emma this weekend. And I got to get busy. I've got to help Beth. I'm like, you know what, dude? If you don't take care of yourself, like you said, and I like what that thing said. This is another art in letting go. The theme of my hike, by the way, is letting go. Well, I forgot to mention that. So I'm getting a lesson beforehand. Let go, because it's going to be tough this weekend not to get on here. But if I need something, I will. But most of the time, I'm going to relax, like I just said, and let go. And then by Monday, there's most of the times we work. I like what Mark Twain says. He's something along the lines of, how many times you worry about something? You know what I'm saying?
It's only going to get better too, Harold. It's only going to get better. And it's what always happens every single time. Hey, I want to, while we have a couple minutes left, I want to remind people, first of all, if you're not yet subscribed, become a subscriber. And there's a big reason for doing that because I am very close to releasing the new LOA Today app, which is going to make it so much easier for people to not only listen to the podcast. In the future, there's also going to be live stream capability built in. You'll be able to watch the video. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff going on. But also, it's going to be an easy way, a really easy way to share with other people. And that is the second part of the theme. So subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, because we're going to give you announcements to subscribers so they know when to download the app. And then also, remember to tell a friend, because that's how more and more people find out about LOA Today and about all the good feeling vibes that we have here with our Daily Dose of Happy. And Harold's a great example of that. Look at the smile on his face. Man, he's just grinning ear to ear.
You know what? I want to say one more thing. Wait. Say something so we can see your eyes. Say something. You have to say something. I wanted to just say to Harold, listen, you're going to the Colorado Trail? Call on the elementals.
Yes.
The spirits of that trail, to help you now to get everything in order so that you can be there. It's just energy. Just like today, the right things came up at the right time because that's what's in the field right now. That's what the energy was calling for. And it's not just in your field or my field or what's his name? Waltz? It's in whoever's connecting to this show. Or they would not be connecting to it, right? Because that's how energy always comes together in that way.
She knows so much about energy. Man, Linda, you got it. Oh, You're right. I love it. Thank you so much, guys. Really,
well, thanks for joining us, Harold. We're glad that you came on. We're glad that you took the time. This was definitely worthwhile. So, and good luck with the 500-mile walk, man.
Yeah, man. You know what? I have a feeling. I'll tell you what. Let's just plan it right now. About halfway on, I'll jump on and give you an update.
Well, shoot, that's a date. Done.
I mean, if Louise lets me on, she might be worried about me now.
You'll probably tune in. Are you kidding?
That's it. Hey, thanks, guys. Are we done? Do I stop talking?
I think we're done. Linda, thank you so much for bringing Harold back. This has been great. And before we go, Linda, remind people where they find Linda Armstrong, because that's an important thing to know too.
LoveMyLife.coach.
There it is.
That's right. Invest in yourself. You definitely, it's worth it.
Absolutely. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, live streamers. And thank you especially to our podcast listeners as well. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.